This is the Bottom Shot Podcast.
Pulverary is up high. They come out of turn number 4. Stutter between the turns. The fans come to their feet.
It is Ted Christopher still in command. Keith Rocco right there on his back bumper.
Bringing Stafford Motor Speedway's past and present together.
They are side by side running for the finish line. It's a photo finish.
Deep into turn number 3. He goes in deeper than most. Christopher is in trouble. It is Keith Rocco to slingshot to the bottom, and he'll take down the win.
A Stafford Motor Speedway production where we will hear from the personalities from the past and present that found success on the legendary half-mile oval.
The scoreboard shows goose eggs as they wait. It's Pulverary. He wins it by inches over Richie Evans in the Spring Sizzler.
Unbelievable chain of events.
Now, here are your hosts, Paula Root and Kyle Rickey. The Bottom Shot Podcast brings us to Hampden, Massachusetts, and our limited late model champion for the 2021 Stafford Motor Speedway season, Alexandra Fearn, joins us now. Alex, first off, thanks for hosting us here today, and congratulations on what was a great 2021 season for you and your team.
Thanks, Kyle.
It's been a couple of weeks since the season finale. Has it set in yet?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I've had some time to reflect on it because we're not going to the racetrack every Friday, so I feel a little empty inside. But yeah, it's somewhat sinking in, but still, I think living, I guess, like in the excitement of it.
Yeah, it was a really, really great season. Kind of, was it your expectation going in to be the champion? I know you've had a lot of great years in the division, and I mean, that car has been on fire for the last couple of seasons with countless victories. Was it the goal of the year and kind of the expectation at the start?
Yeah, I'd say so after losing it in the tiebreaker in the worst way possible. I definitely say so because I knew that we could do it, but it's always tough. Like, you guys know how it goes. Like, obviously that's everybody's goal, but I think that also, like, stuff happens and it's really hard to predict. I guess, like, what's going to come your way, but also it's really difficult to be consistent every single week for like 5 months or whatever it is.
Long season.
Yeah. So that was the goal, but you know, obviously a lot of smaller goals come with that too.
You mentioned losing it in a tiebreaker in the worst way possible, and that was in Victory Lane on that final race of the season last year, losing it coming down to win total over Andrew. How much motivation did that give you going into this season?
Yeah, I'd say a fair amount. That definitely sucked. Like, I mean, what happened was really I had somewhat of a chance, and, like, you know, I was sitting there like doing, you know, with the calculator, like figuring out all the scenarios and stuff. This was like 2 months before the end of the year. And I was like, oh, well, I don't really have a chance, so we'll just go for wins, which is what we usually do anyways. And then he had like 2 bad weeks in a row or something like that. And I was right behind him both times it happened. Both were just incredibly unlucky for him and extremely lucky for me. There really was nothing else to do with it. And going into the last few weeks, we were tied. I might have had the point lead at one point, but he just had so many more wins than me because he was so much better at the beginning of the year. I was not good at the beginning of the year at all, to be fully honest about it. But then the second half of the year, I was just very consistent, kind of like our entire last year. I kind of just like found the magic. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just I was incredibly lucky and had somewhat of a shot, but lost it in the tiebreaker. All I needed was one more on-track position throughout the entire year, which hurts. That's really crazy. Bad to think about. I know.
Every time there's a tie in a 20-event series, you're just like, man,
and it's been more common the last couple of years. I feel like we've seen more and more of that.
Yeah, very competitive. Talk to us about the division a bit, right? You know, there's a lot of new drivers that kind of came in and challenged for victories. How was it kind of being in that in this class and having those new names kind of pop in there?
I think it's kind of interesting. It adds a little bit of a challenge, I think, because some people, well, actually, when I joined the class, I don't think I'd raced against any of the people before besides Ryan, like my brothers. So that's kind of different. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think I'd raced against any of them before. And then usually when somebody joins, I've probably not raced against them either, so I have no idea. And some people will start out like they can keep up and stuff, and some people like are just either like at one end of the spectrum or the other, extremely good, or they might be new to the sport. So like, for example, last year I'd never raced with Andrew before. I like had to look him up on your guys' website. Like I was like, oh well, you know, I might have heard his name before. I looked him up. I was like, oh, he has a lot of wins.
Couple wins,
like,
yeah.
he might be somebody I have to race against this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, like he was so fast and consistent every week. So like, I think it kind of adds a little bit of a challenge to it, but I like the division. I think that it's very competitive. A lot of people complain because the car count might be low, but I think that the racing was excellent in my opinion. Good. I'm obviously biased, but like, let's be honest. It's great, affordable. Most people exercise some degree of respect more than other divisions, in my opinion. Sorry. But like, that's just the way it is. So I think that that's what makes it a good division, is that there's definitely like a mixed bag of different drivers, and it's good racing. It's not like anybody's out there junking the guy for the win, because that, like, nobody likes watching that. At least I don't like watching that. That's not fun. So, you know, I do like the division, and, you know, to be the champion and be successful in it, I think is really, I don't know, can't hang our heads about it.
8 different winners this year. Very competitive, limited late model season. Full year in 2021, and only, I think, 1 or 2 rainouts in the middle portions of the year. You mentioned, let's talk about the start of the year and how important it was for you to get off to a good start. I got your numbers here. A win, a second, a fourth, a win, a fourth, a win. I mean, about as consistent as you can get. How important was that, say, that first win of the season at the Sizzler?
I think it was pretty important. I've won the Sizzler before, but that was, I might have honestly still been in high school. That's how long ago it was. So like, it's pretty important because usually, historically, in my view, we're not very good at the beginning of the year. Like, we're okay. It's not like I'm going out there and like finishing last, but like, I'm not like going out there setting the fastest time in practice, winning the heat race and winning the feature. That's not like usually what happens at the beginning of the year. And usually it's just me. I'm just like, I'm a slow starter. So, yeah, to go out there and do that was extremely important. But then the week after that, and then the week after that, like, it all just added up into, like, being consistent and building the momentum and keeping the attitude there. It was also, kind of nice because it was our first normal year after COVID. So I was like hyped and ready to go. Like, I'm pretty sure we did a test day before the first race. So that definitely like got the mood going. I was all jazzed up going to the first race and stuff. So yeah, and I think also part of it too was I was not like really busy in like my work and school and all that stuff during that time, so I could really focus on my racing and kind of like set the mold for the rest of the year, because in my view, I think it's pretty hard to recover once you've had like a rough few weeks, even if it's like in the middle of the year. I'm not even talking about like at the beginning of the year, but it's even harder to come back, in my opinion, because I mean, like, the track changes every week, and it kind of just like builds the attitude. So I think that it was extremely important, and like, it got my entire team all hyped up, and I was excited to go to the racetrack every week, and it was a lot of fun. So I think that it was all together like the perfect scenario, especially the first 4 weeks like you're talking about. I don't think we finished worse than 4th, like you said.
Yeah, and a very impressive start. I think everyone was like, there's your potential champion, if not the heavy favorite in May. And then we have that insanely close finish. Do you have the official margin? I don't even know if it's on if it's even
4 1,000s.
4 1,000s. So
yeah. So
tell us about that. Was an awesome
tell
race.
us about
That's
that.
probably one of the best finishes of the season.
I can't remember when it was. It was probably in like May, or I think May, like you said. It was pretty early, and like, to be completely honest, I'm normally not very good on old tires. Like, I'm one of those, I try not to be one of those people who wins only when they slap on 4 stickers. But, like, you know, I was just out there.
They feel good when you put them on, though,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
you know,
there's nothing like a new tire, you know. So anyway, like, that day, like, I'm pretty sure we were fast in practice, like, just consistent. Like, the heat race, went out there, did that. It was fine. And then the feature, I was like, okay, well, you know, like, we're starting in a decent spot. But when you finished 4th or better every week before that, it's kind of hard to start in a good spot. So just go out there, do my thing. Because, like, all season long, like I've said before, our goal was to just finish every lap. So I was like, well, you got to keep that in mind. I'm not going to go out there and, like, burn the world down. So whatever. I got to the lead, I'm pretty sure, very quickly. I could be totally wrong about this because it all blends together sometimes. But I remember it was daylight outside. We're usually pretty good when it's warm out. And I was like, all right, well, just see what happens. Got to the lead pretty relatively quickly. I think I led most of the race, to be completely honest, or at least some chunk of it. And like, I'm not a mirror driver, and I saw Rich coming up behind me, and I'm not going to block him because honestly, like, what's the point in that? A lot of people would do that to win the race, but like, he was clearly faster than me, and I knew that. So I just, I know where I'm better than him, and I know where he's better than me, and I know my spots kind of where I can push the car a little more. So I just tried everything I could, and then I honestly really screwed up. I think it was the last lap he got under me, like seriously the last lap, coming out of 2, which is normally where I'm best in my opinion. So I just totally screwed up and kind of like, I think got too complacent and comfortable and wasn't paying attention, and that was it. And like, I tried everything I could coming out of turn 4, like, and I think it just hurt a little bit because like I was mad about it, obviously. And like, they had us wait next to each other in victory lane, and like Scott was watching the video and he was unable to tell. Sorry, Scott, but this is just my view. Like, unable to tell, and then goes off. He's like, oh, well, we're going to go off of the transponder. Meanwhile, like, it's basically, I was all mad because in the video, I got home and watched it, obviously, on my computer, and you can, like, stop and start it using the space bar. So I watched it, like, frame by frame, and I was like, there's no way. But, I mean, I'm not going to be salty about it because, like, it's not like it was, like, unfair or anything. It's not like Rich, like, moved me to win or anything like that. That would be way worse.
It was a heck of a finish.
Yeah, and I've seen people do that, and I would be way more mad. Like, so I can't say that he didn't deserve it necessarily, but yeah, that I definitely won in the video. I'm just saying, but it is what it is at this point.
You have to remember we use interlaced video too, so it's not totally clear. I think David and I must have watched that 500 times on Monday because we were like, it doesn't look great, but. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I enjoyed the finish. I caught the tail end of that one. My jaw was on the floor with that finish. It kind of sums up that whole division all year. The racing was so good.
Yeah, and that wasn't the only finish that was like that either. Like, there was a few finishes between some other people too that I think were good.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not like he like moved me out of the way to do that either, which I think speaks volumes because in some other divisions that's pretty regular and expected. No offense. But, I think that kind of like speaks to what the division is like. A lot of people who are, I don't know, within, like basically all within like striking of winning the race, right?
Sure.
When you have 5 cars that are able to do that, I think it's pretty impressive.
Fun year, no doubt, to watch you on track, mostly on the podium all year and 6 wins. That near second that we were just talking about. But I think just one finish outside of the top 10, one really bad night, that wreck and turn number 1, right? Mm-hmm. What happened that night?
Yeah, that was stupid.
Okay.
In my view. Well, basically, I think it was at the end of the year. It must have been like, I don't know, maybe in September sometime.
Yeah, it was in September.
And I can't remember why, but like, I think, honestly, so I think I was in 4th, and I was behind Gary, and basically I was catching up to him. I was like, well, I don't really like need to pass him really, but like, I don't know. I caught up to him pretty quickly. I was like, well, I can't drive through him because like, that's not how I'm going to pass him. But I also don't want anybody behind me to catch up to me and pass me, or both of us or whatever. So like, I guess I'll try and pass him. And I had the door on him, and then, yeah, it just kind of ended that way for no reason, in my view. But honestly, like, I think that it could be argued that it's a racing mistake. Like, I wasn't really mad about it in hindsight because honestly, like, it's not a big deal. Like, I've totally done that to other people too, and I'm not blaming him, but I just do think that it was kind of dumb. But
one of those deals.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I can't get mad because I've done that to people too, and like, I had door on him, but like, he would probably say that like he didn't see me or whatever, because like, it is kind of hard, like, when you're, especially when you're sitting in the car and like, you can't, like, nobody's turning their head to look and be like, oh, nobody's there, I guess
I hope
I'll,
they're
like,
not.
yeah. Well, some people might, but like, most people don't. And I know that Gary doesn't really mean to do that kind of stuff. Like, he's not the type of person who would do that to me like on purpose. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So
yeah.
And I respect him, so like, I'm not going to, like, go over to his trailer after and yell at him, like, or anything like that, or dwell on it.
So this is the Bottom Shop podcast. We have to talk a bit about how you got started in the sport, kind of how you became a champion at Stafford. So I know you started in the cars. Was that kind of the first time you sat behind a wheel of a car?
Yeah, actually. So yeah, I've talked about this before, I think a little bit, but basically how it happened is my dad said to Ryan and I, so Ryan and I were in like elementary school. We were pretty young. I think I was 8 years old. And he said to us, oh, let's go down to Stafford. They have some go-karts. We should go check it out. It was like the last race of the year or something. So we go there, and obviously Ryan and I think this is so cool. And, we're like, this is awesome. Like, we really want to do it. So over the winter, got 2 carts, like off the internet, and showed up to the first race the next year. I think it was Wild Thing Kart's second year. Showed up to the race, and then just I kind of like took off from there. Obviously Ryan and I thought it was so fun and like that it was the coolest thing ever. Full disclosure, I was not good my first year. I
think that's in a lot of cases. Yeah. I think that is the case.
Well, Ryan was good though. Ryan went out there and he was in the Cubs, which is like I think it's 7 years old and under. Yeah. He went out there and like won the first race that he ever raced in and like all this stuff. But I was not good. So it kind of like took a year. Like I said, I'm a slow starter. We can't just go out there and burn the world down. So was not good at all. Like it was in hindsight like embarrassing for me if you raced with me and knew me. But then the next year after that, so my second year in go-karts, we went to another racetrack in like New Hampshire or something, and there was a few people from Stafford there that I knew and I'd raced with, but also people I had no clue who they were and I like didn't know anything about them. Went out there, won that was pretty cool to go somewhere else that you've never been and win. And then went back to Stafford, won the first 3 races, enough where people complained and thought that I was cheating. Wow. Like all this stuff, people complained. It was great. It was really fun. Did that until I was 16 and then started in the Dare Stocks. At the time, it was the Dare Stocks. Ryan and I started together, so he was 14 and I was 16. I didn't have my driver's license yet, so my mom drove us to our first race.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was pretty fun. Like I was okay. Like I could keep up. I led a lot of laps, never won a race in my first year. Just extremely unlucky. And I think Ryan won a race or 2, and then the second year I went out. I think I won my first race in like July or something because, like I said, usually slow
takes
start.
Takes a little time. That's fine.
You can't rush art. But and then after that, like I think we moved to the limiteds in 2017. I won a race that year. And then, it's been just like upward momentum ever since, and now here we are, like I'm champion. It's
the champion
cool.
at Stafford.
What's that transition like from a street stock to a limited late model?
Well, I mean, I was like so nervous about it. I was like, Dad, like we have to go test at the track because I'm so nervous. Like I'm like, like psyching myself out. This is like probably a month before or something. And, he was like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, it's fine. So we just showed up to the day, I think, it's like the open test day before the Sizzler. It's always like the week before something. Showed up to that, and it was fine. Like, didn't go out there and like junk myself or anything like that.
It's a good car, too.
Yeah. Full disclosure, it's Paul's old car.
That car came off the track a winner, so.
Yeah. And it was pretty good. It was fun. Like I don't know, in the street stock, I think the street stock / the Dare stocks, I love watching them race. I loved driving them. I think it's great racing. I miss it sometimes, especially when I'm watching their races and like the top 3 are like all so close and like so like I kind of was used to that. Like they'll just beat and bang and whatever. But the limiteds, I watched some of their races and I was like, these guys like don't mess around. This is scary. But yeah, I think the transition was honestly, in hindsight, like it was like maybe like a few weeks, because at the end of the day, in my view, like the cars, yes, they are a little bit different, but at the end of the day, to me, it kind of at this point all blends together. So yeah, I was really nervous about it, but like it worked out.
And then to tie it all back in at the end of this season, you jumped into it's a big jump in my opinion to a very challenging late model division, and was very impressive, very fast. Tell us about that. That was, I mean, I think if anyone is just in the stands spectating, the late models is a different ball game. It's I kind of describe it as a fist fight where you bring a knife to it, right? I punch you, I'm going to stab you back, right?
Yeah.
But it's crazy. It's crazy. So tell us about, your final, I think you end up in the top 10.
Yeah, so we finished 10th in front of my cousin Tom. Or maybe 9th, I can't remember, but whatever, I beat him. So
But in front of Tom.
Yeah.
Yes.
In my mind, I didn't think it was a goal I had, but I didn't think it would actually happen. And in his defense, like, he did get a flat or something, so it's not like I went out there and burned the world down. But so basically how it happened was a few weeks before the fall final, like the last race, maybe the first week in September, I was like, hey, Dad, we should get the late model together. And he was like, oh, yeah, I guess we should, right? So, and meanwhile, it was over there on the jig, and it had a transmission in it and the motor, but that's it, nothing else. And obviously all the other stuff, but it needed a lot of work. So, ran around here an entire Saturday basically gathering all the parts, because we probably have enough stuff here to build another spare car, but gathered all the stuff, figured out if we needed to buy anything, and all the stuff we needed to do, made this giant list, and just kind of started working on it. And for me, I felt so stupid. I really thought that I would be able to do this somewhat by myself, but I was proven wrong extremely quickly because in my opinion, I think the late model's pretty different from the limited. The limited, in my mind, it's pretty straightforward, but I just felt extremely stupid. So I had to enlist the help of a lot of people. So I can't thank them enough. Mostly my dad, Dave Ferris, Tom, just everyone who helped me. There's a lot of people who did a lot for that. So thank you. So yeah, we ended up getting it together. It's the night before, and we were here till 1:00 finishing it up. I won't say why, but it's funny. But
I won't say why, but it's funny.
yeah, basically, so we finished it up at 1 a.m., get to the track the next day, and I was all nervous and stuff about it. And I watched a few videos, people's in cars, and I was like, well, I'll just go out there and do my best, because what else am I gonna do, right? Mm-hmm. Did not test it or anything, literally just showed up and went out for the first practice. And it was pretty cool. I had something in my mind that I was expecting, and it was not that at all. Mm-hmm. The limited, in my opinion, I think, I know how to drive it very smooth. I know what to expect from it. The late model, I went out there, and I, did a small burnout to warm up the rear tires in the first practice, and it was...
Did you almost loop it?
Oh, yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. And
it's surprising. It's very surprising when you do that jump. It's the power difference is pretty dramatic.
The rear tires are
yeah.
So yeah, it was so fun though. The first practice was so fun. Most fun I've had in a while. The car is very interesting. It's hard to describe it. Obviously, but it's hard to describe. The way the car behaves is so different, and that's something that I had to learn. But honestly, when I jumped, because I obviously was jumping from the limited to the late model and back all day, and I noticed that when I jumped back into the limited, it felt like literally a cakewalk, just so much easier to drive. Not saying that it's easy at all, but I think it improved my driving in the limited, to be honest.
And you're comfortable in that car as well. It's the same. It's your kind of safe space is that car, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So and then I went out for the heat race. I'd never raced near any other cars because in practice, I just tried to stay away from everybody. And then I went out in the heat race, my first time racing with anybody. And I don't know these people, and I'm hoping and praying that they know it's me and not Ryan. And I posted on Facebook ahead of time to hopefully disseminate the word. But because the car looks the same, and actually passed some people, raced with them. It was pretty fun. I got to race with Andrew again. I haven't raced with him in a year, and we raced together for a little bit. Passed some people. Somebody tried to junk me for 4th place in the heat race. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but that was just surprising. I was like, okay, nobody in the limiteds would do that probably. And I just think the division, during the race, it was pretty long, and I was so nervous the entire time because obviously I don't want to mess it up for anybody who's been racing in the division all year long. I'm just there to have fun, and I don't want to go out there and ruin anybody's day. But actually passed some people and avoided some cautions and stuff. there was a few yellows and like restarts and all that. So it was like close racing and I was so nervous the entire time. But yeah, people are pretty aggressive. And yeah, it's like bringing a knife to a gunfight and like.
To a fist fight.
Yeah, even better.
Knife to a fist fight.
So like, it's just. Yeah,
it's controlled chaos is how I describe it.
Yeah, it is.
But sometimes
and
it's not controlled.
Everybody's extremely aggressive, and with good reason, I suppose, because it's extremely competitive.
In the cars, I try to explain to everyone how challenging those cars are to drive. It's like to be good, you got to be like right on edge all the time. If you start to be like not on edge, you're getting passed.
Yeah,
like I saw you bounce the car off the wall in the backstretch a couple times. That was I saw the sparks.
So yeah, I mean during practice, like we kind of like worked our way up. It was like getting faster just by a little bit, and then in the heat race, like I don't know. I just being next to other people kind of helps to put it in perspective, and like see kind of like what they're doing and like what line they run and whatever. And Michael Bennett was in my heat race, so I was like, if I could just catch up to like him and the people who are running with him, then I'll be all set, right? And that's not really what happened because like everybody, like I thought that I was fast, but everybody who's actually fast is just very consistent, very smooth, and I felt like, I don't know, like like a dog walking itself. Like I didn't know what was going on. But I'm just there to have fun. It was definitely some of the most fun that I've had, but it's a little bit frustrating for me because I consider myself to be like not necessarily aggressive. I'm more passive and patient, but aggressive if needed. And I just can't like bring myself to do it. But everybody is more like aggressive style. And maybe less patient than me, or maybe not less patient, but maybe more like proactive when they're racing against other people than I am. So that was definitely tough to like get over, but I had to get over it extremely quickly, or else I was getting sent to the back or dumped.
I think everyone was pretty impressed with the driving. I don't think too many people have jumped into there and been able to be in the top 10 and that fast out of the gate. So very impressive, and I mean. Congrats on an amazing season. You deserve it. All-time winningest female driver at Stafford, and very impressive. And we're glad to have you as a champion and have you as a very great driver at our track. So congrats on the 2021 season.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm lucky to be able to race at a place like this. This is definitely the #1 short track in America. I'm not saying that because I'm biased. I'm just saying. So yeah, thanks for having us.